All right, most of us know movie star James Dean was killed in a tragic car accident, but did you know the last time he was seen alive was right here in Kern County?
That's right, the rebel without a cause. Blackwell's corner has been cemented in history ever since, and right now Josh Helmuth is live at the iconic location as part of today's Kern County Hidden Gem. Josh,
good morning, guys. We are taking a trip back to the 50s, kind of, sort of. You can see this mural behind me, dedicated to the Boulevard of Broken Dreams. James Dean included in that. It was right here at Blackwell's corner. Of course, it looks much different today, but decades ago, right here on the corner of Highway 46 and 33, tragedy would unfold. And ever since then, this has been a very hotbed of visitors from all over the world, not only just our country, and to tell us how it's kind of evolved throughout the years and tell us why it's, you know, a very historic, very sought-after location is Kazi Detloff, the owner here at Blackwell's Corner. I almost called it Blackwell's Kazi. Yeah. Kazi, thanks for having me out here this morning. It's got Kazi's Corner.
Sometimes people do call it that.
Well, first of all, tell us what made you want to purchase this location, and you tell me that people from all over the world come to right here in the middle of nowhere near Lost Hills, California, just to get a little piece of history.
Yeah. Well, you know, I built the Missouri Triangle down here at Belridge Oil. And my wife and I would go and buy here one day, you know, and 6 or 8 months later, and there was a sign up on the building. And she said, why don't we buy that?
And so you did, and you've had success ever since, huh?
Yes, we did, and it's been immediately double the size of it. You have just a coffee shop, and then I made it a convenience store with the coffee shop, and it worked out very well.
You've really kind of made it a very dedicated area to, of course, the 50s icon James Dean, because this was the very last location he was seen alive before his tragic accident. Back then, we actually have a picture for us that Kazi wrinkled up for us. This is what Blackwell's Corner used to look like. It was a Richfield gasoline station. It was only a simple coffee shop and a gasoline station. James Dean had a cup of coffee around 5:15 p.m. before leaving, trying to get to a race in Salinas. And then, of course, we all know what unfolded there. But you dedicated this diner to him. It's called Forever Young Restaurant.
Right. That's part of James Dean's legacy, you know. As you can see the pictures over on that wall there, there's quite a few things right there that this one artist from over at Arvin, he did all that Mexican guy.
Very cool.
And he brought those over and gave it to us. But that all depicts every bit of this, as does the East of Eden fudge shop.
If people stop on by, what do you recommend? Do you recommend they get the fudge, or they have a little bite to eat here at the restaurant?
Everything. And if you try the fudge, it's all made right here. We have our girls, you know, they do all of that. And I'll tell you what, if they try it, they will buy it.
My last question for this segment, Kazi, you say people visit from all over the world. Where's probably the most furthest location you've heard of someone stopping to buy here just to get a little piece of James Dean history?
It would be hard to say. We have Japanese guys come in here and they'll take pictures all over the place. They have the German population that are very big-time James Dean fans.
So the Germans, they love David Hasselhoff. They love James Dean.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, don't go anywhere. We're just getting started here from Blackwell's Corner.
You know, the Japanese folks, which the guy that put in the monument down here at Shalem, he bought the thing and set it up and the whole nine for that. And that, from what I understand, it was supposed to go here first.
This is an iconic location, and Kazi's only made it, that much more relevant. We're going to show you why coming up in the next hour, guys.
All right, thank you so much, Josh. Can you do us a favor? Can you give us your best James Dean this morning?
Had to have a feeling that was coming. I'll save that for later. Let me work on that, okay? I should have known that was coming. But first, let me describe where I am. Blackwell's Corner, established more than 100 years ago as a halfway point for those traveling via covered wagon, believe it or not, between Bakersfield and the coast. Fast forward 50 years later, and this location, of course, is September 30th, 1955, James Dean's very last location he was seen alive before he was killed in a very tragic auto accident on his way to Salinas for an auto race. You see the one sign right behind me right there dedicated to this iconic location, Blackwell's Corner. And as I walk forward, we have another sign, a very epic, very large, very noticeable sign on the side of Highway 46 right here. And the owner, Kazi, is with me. Kazi, kind of describe, you have two very large dedications, if you will, of the famous actor James Dean. Only had 3 movies, but still remains a tremendous icon. What's it been like kind of owning a piece of history right here in the middle of nowhere?
Well, it's quite an experience. You know, when I bought the place in '85, you know, we learned real quick that this was a very popular spot for James Dean's last stop, and people from all over the world.
Do people come in just wanting to hear stories and kind of wanting to take in what happened on that tragic day?
Many things that they would tell us different stories. Like the lady, I could tell you one real quick, that she called up and said, "Have you seen James Dean come by in his car?" And I said, "No." Well, there's some rumors that he was seen down in L.A. and I'd like to know. And she gave me her telephone number, wanted me to call her. She was from Chicago.
Okay.
Wanted me to call her if we saw James Dean's ghost in the car.
No.
Oh, yes.
And of course, you've also had some very famous visitors as well. You said maybe about 10 years ago, Miss Oprah Winfrey even came by.
Yeah, she came by, and I recognized it, but I did not say anything. You know, you don't want to let people know that people are there, because they get mauled real quick. You know, you don't want your customers to even know it. But customers come along and tell me that, "Did you see that guy?" I said, "I don't know who it was," but they would tell me somebody, you know, from a TV star or.
Kazi has a lot of great history to tell. We're only getting started. Guys, not only is this an iconic location because of its history, Kazi's kind of making it his own, and he's also showcased what we're famous for right here in Kern County, where there are almonds, pistachios, walnuts, and he has a lot of that in store inside as well, along with a diner dedicated to James Dean and some fudge as well called East of Eden Fudge, of course, one of the famous movies James Dean was starring in back in 1955. We'll have more from Blackwell's Corner on his history and why you should check it out coming up in the next hour, guys.
All right, Josh, thank you very much. That is Josh Helmuth reporting live for us this morning. We'll get back with Josh in just a few minutes. It is 6:42.
Cemented forever in history, and it's Josh Helmuth's hidden gem this morning. Good morning, Josh.
That's right. Good morning, Amity. I'm in front of what they call kind of the James Dean wall, the James Dean mural they have here at Blackwell's Corner. It's transformed big time throughout the decades, especially in the past 5-6 years, into what I consider probably the nicest pit stop you'll probably ever see. But practically middle of nowhere. 46 and 33 meet out here towards Lost Hills. James Dean stopped right here back in September 30th, 1955 on his way to Salinas for a race. And just a half hour later, he was up the road. Tragedy unfolded. But to this day, people still come to this exact same pit stop to kind of remember James Dean or use the bathroom, depending on where they're going and what their purpose is. But while they're here, we have Kazi here, who's the current owner. Kaz, you've transformed this place into not just a coffee shop like it was during James Dean's days, but it's so much more now.
Much more. We're into we've got about 7,000 or more items in this store. In the different flavors of pistachios and almonds that are all local grown.
And one thing we wanted to showcase right now is East of Eden Fudge Factory. And of course, East of Eden is the film that James Dean starred in 1955. Anna has a smorgasbord of fudge. And of course, those who watch me regularly know that I love to eat food. I got to do the famous Josh taste test. Anna, do you have a few things in store for me?
Yeah, we have a really popular, which is the peanut butter chocolate.
Bring it on. Peanut butter chocolate. Bring it on.
There you go.
Okay, and while I'm trying this, Kazi, go ahead and fill us in on maybe why did you choose to buy this place? Are you a 50s kind of guy? Have you always loved James Dean?
I was married in the 50s, and my wife and I were passing by out one day, and we decided to buy it because there's a big sign up on top of the old building, and we bought it, and then doubled the size of it. Started the very next day after we bought it, when we took over, and doubled the size of it, and made it into a store, cafe, and everything, and then tore that out later on and made it into a nut house.
This is peanut butter chocolate? Is that what? Oh my God, that was amazing. Give me one more. What's another one? I'm going to get greedy here.
Really popular.
Ooh.
It's red velvet.
Ooh, this is red velvet. Okay, I'm going to try the red velvet. Guys, this fudge is amazing. What's probably, as we closer, this is my last question because we're running out of time, Kazi, but you say about 1,200 people come through here daily.
Every day.
And you say some of them you've seen come from around the world just to see the last spot James Dean was in when he was seen alive.
It's well known for that, and that's why they come here. And they take pictures of everything around here. They're outside, inside, out there by the 18-foot tall James Dean. There's a lot of that goes all over the world.
Guys, this fudge is amazing. There's also the Forever Young restaurant, the diner, the 50s style diner right here. We have much more to show off. Don't go anywhere. Amity, Rob, fun-filled fact, as James Dean was on his way to Blackwell's Corner from LA en route to Salinas for the race car, for the auto race, he actually got pulled over just south of Bakersfield and got a speeding ticket earlier that fateful day.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
So if he'd only listened to the officer and slowed down.
He got pulled over for going 65 and a 55. Legend holds.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
that's what the ticket says.
That's what the ticket says. All right. Thank you, Josh.
Kern County hidden gems, Josh. Good morning.
You sound so in the moment, Rob. Just very. Yeah, well, we kind of are. This is a very neat location. This is what it looked like decades ago. And in the past 5 to 10 years, this corner has really blossomed into something that not only reminisces James Dean and the last moment he was seen here alive back in 1955, but also kind of taking on our Kern County culture today. We have the diner, the Forever Young restaurant in honor of James Dean, the East of Eden Fudge Factory. But we also pay tribute Kazi here, the owner, to Kern County and what we're known for. We're known for pistachios, almonds, walnuts, of course, Central Coast wine, just right our neighbors next door. Yep. This is probably the nicest pit stop I've ever seen.
You're great. We've got a little of everything. We've got, when you've got 6,000 or 7,000 different items, flavors, and what have you, like the syrups. You got all these syrups right in here. They got jellies and syrups and
some of these are actually like
stuff here. This is all in our label.
I was gonna say it says Blackwell's Corner brand, James Dean's last stop.
Exactly.
I think he'd be proud.
Oh, absolutely. And now, a lot of these are people that are come from different parts of the country and everything, but it's great items, and so we put them in there. It's all gourmet stuff. Now
of course,
we have this is some of the olive oil that this is all from the Central Coast, like our wines.
Sure.
Same.
Well, something I want to show people right now. Let's go ahead and go over here because this is one of your favorites. This is something that you won't find anywhere else. I just found it fascinating. This, guys, and Kazi was raving about it. Pecan honey butter.
Yeah.
Explain.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. This stuff you can put this. Just put it in your pantry. You don't have to put it in an ice box or anything or the fridge because it stays fresh forever.
Now, Kazi, as we close here, there's one more question I want to ask you before we run out of time. Okay. And you've been telling me all these stories off camera. You've heard a lot of stories in regards to James Dean owning this property. People coming in all the time. What's maybe one story or one factoid that people might not know about James Dean that you've heard? Even it may be hearsay, but something very fascinating you've heard about Dean over the years.
Well, James Dean was, they tell all kind of stories. But, as far as this one Hispanic guy that had just started driving truck over here, and he was telling about the first time that he come over, he was at the bottom of the hill over here, coming this way with a load of stuff from Salinas, and he was driving along, and he looked over in his right seat, and he said, that guy, he's talking about this stand-up that I had there, James Dean. He says, he was in my seat. And I said, oh, yeah? He said, yeah, I don't like that guy.
Guys, if you get the chance, Kazi, that's just one of many stories he has. Kazi, thank you so much for having us.
He did disappear, though, afterwards.
He did disappear. So maybe there's a James Dean ghost, Rob? I'm not sure. Maybe he's still in the area. If you get the chance, if you make a pit stop on the way to the coast or to Bakersfield, this is the place to do it, guys.